Let's change some vanilla loot. Let's see how to do that. If you want to go deeper, the 26.x modding courses are linked down below. 30 plus hours covering complex block entities with fluid and energy handling, custom mobs, custom networking, and even custom biomes and dimensions. Everything you need for 26.x all in one place, linked down below in the description. Alright, we found back and tell you a little more, and in this tutorial we'll be changing vanilla loot tables to whatever we so desire. Indeed, so idea being that of course we've seen loot tables via data gen, right? So those were our own loot tables over here, block loot tables, for example. We were able to do those. However, what about vanilla loot tables and changing those? I know a lot of people want to change a lot of stuff in vanilla. I usually caution against it because most of the time you want to add things. You don't want to subtract things from the game because it's sort of like one of those things where if you can't figure out how to subtract things, then you're not at a sufficient level that you should subtract things, if that makes sense. Like if you're able to figure that out on your own, then I think that your programming and modding level is at a position where you understand the power given to you, so to speak, or you've earned the power in order to actually do that. Now, for our purposes, we're just going to add things to the loot tables. We're not going to subtract, and that's going to be okay. For this, let's go into our tutorial mod package. I'm going to make a new package. I'm going to call this guy the loot package. There we go. And here we'll make the mod loot table modifiers class. There we go. This one is actually going to just have one specific static method over here, public static void. It's going to be the modify loot tables. There we go, tables. This is going to have a resource key of type loot table. This is going to be the key. Then a fabric loot table builder. This is going to be the builder. Then a loot table source. This is going to be the source, crazy enough. And then a holder lookup.provider over here, which is the provider. There we have it. And that is going to be what we're going to need for this. So to target specific loot tables, it's actually way more straightforward than you might think. Individually, you want to basically say, hey, if key.identifier equals, and then we want an identifier with default namespace because we wanted to change the Minecraft loot tables. And we can say blocks slash, for example, short underscore grass over here. And this is an if statement. So now inside of the if statement, we want to build a new loot pool builder and then add this to the pool. So the idea is we're going to do builder.pool at the bottom over here that we need to add at the end. And then here at the top, inside of the if statement still, loot pool. That's almost correct, but we actually want to do a loot pool.builder. And this is going to be our pool builder over here equal to the loot pool. This is exactly correct. So this is going to basically be this. And now we can build our loot table. So building the loot table, of course, it gets quite complicated, quite fast. Highest level overview. If you want the most basic of basic things, we just add something at a random chance. We want to set the roles to a const value of 1. So this is a const value of exactly 1 right here. Then we do a when. So this is going to be a condition. So in this case, we're going to do a loot item random chance condition right here, which is going to be a random chance of, let's say, 25%. Then we have to basically add a specific loot item. You can actually see it even suggests this to me. Now, mod villagers short grass. I don't know what the frick is cooking up there, but okay. It is correct, though, that we want to do a loot item and then a loot table item. That is correct. So this is going to be the loot table item method call over here. And we're going to add mod items.strawberry seeds right here. And then the final one is going to be the apply. And that's going to be the where we set the count. So in this case, we're going to do set item count function dot set count. Here we need to use a uniform generator, and we're going to do between, let's say, 1 and 2, for example. And then after the second closing parenthesis, we call the build, and there we go. Control Alt and L to format this a little bit nicer, and there we go. We then add the pool builder dot build over here inside of the builder pool, and that is it. This is now going to target the short grass, and if we were to add this now, so if we pull the modify loot table method in the correct event, then this is going to add strawberry seeds with a 25% chance, and then it's either going to drop 1 or 2. There we go. Now, creating these, loot pools, obviously you can go to vanilla and look at, for example, the block loot subprovider to see, this is like a prop condition table and then a block entity table, and I don't even know, a rebalancing, block loot, block interaction loot. So there are quite a few places where they're using this exact thing. So this, for example, as you can see, is just like between 1 and 2, between 0 and 1 actually, and doing the same thing, building building the different loot pools. Highly recommended. Check out the vanilla ones on that if you want any sort of specific thing. Now, the next question you're going to have is, where do I get the name right here? Well, the name you get in the following ways. You can go to the external libraries all the way to, well, I just need to find it. Net Minecraft merged right here. This is going to be under data and then Minecraft. And then this is going to be under the loot underscore table right here. And then this is the base. So you can see blocks and then you have blocks. And if I were to type in short underscore grass, you can see short underscore grass. So this is the already existing loot table and we're basically adding to it another loot pool. That's the whole idea. So you can target any of them. Do note that some of them are, well, work slightly differently. This I'm going to copy over 2 more examples over here and you'll find what I see or what I mean over here. There are built-in loot tables. So for example, here the ancient city, you can see this is mostly for spawning. So this is mostly for chests, as you can see, or it might actually be only for chests. Not quite. So there's also dispensers, equipment. I assume that most or all of the loot tables will at some point in the future have a key associated with it. I think, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe blocks won't need it, but they added block ID. So who knows, right? At this point, they might do anything. Regardless though, you can see, you can just immediately target those, but it doesn't matter. You can literally also just take the name. That also works. Here it just is then the ancient city equals the key. And then we add the chisel in this case with a 100% chance. Once again, between 1 and 2. And then here for a creeper, we're going to add our raw fluorite between 2 and 5 with a 45% chance. So that's the whole idea. You basically, for each one you wanted to add, you just add another if statement, and that's pretty much gonna be it. Now, use this sparingly, of course. Don't, fill this up with 1,000 things, because remember, let's say, everyone adds their own custom seeds to the grass. At some point, the grass gets quite full, right? So there's other, all of a sudden you have like 100 different seeds that might drop. It gets a little bit crazy, but yeah, that's the idea. And we can then go to our tutorial mod class at the very bottom over here. We're just gonna do the loot table events. So this is the loot table events.modify, and then we're gonna register mod loot table modifiers : modify loot tables. Absolutely fantastic. That's everything we need to do. So now let's jump into the game and see if it loots. Alright, fans, it's back in Minecraft, and let's just, look at that. That's literally the first time breaking it. I got myself some seeds. Absolutely fantastic. So that definitely works. Let's see if the creeper, that's not a good idea. Okay, maybe we should be a little bit more careful about that one. Okay, we're going to do this scientifically instead. We're just going to do an add E over here, type creeper. There we go. But we want to, not kick them, but there we go. There we have it. So a couple of them drop the raw fluorite. And the final step above this, let's locate an ancient city. Is it the best idea to add it to ancient city ones? Not particularly, but at the end of the day, it works, There we go. There's our chisel. Absolutely fantastic. And that is, well, very easily modified vanilla loot tables over here added to Minecraft. Awesome. And that's gonna be it for this tutorial right here. Thank you so much for watching, and thanks for all the support on YouTube and on Patreon. Don't forget, if you join as a Stonebricks member on YouTube, you can get up to 14 days of early access, which includes this video right here. We'll start making a simple block entity. Until then, so yeah.